Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is tomorrow expected to hold a stakeholders meeting to communicate measures the Commission has taken to correct several anomalies observed in an audit of the voters' register. Last week, audit firm KPMG pointed to more than 800,000 questionable records of voters found to have either been registered with invalid documentation or of persons who may have been registered more than once. Sam Gituko reports about the next 4 days that will significantly shape the 2022 general election.
For the past 1 week, IEBC has been busy implementing recommendations contained in a KPMG preliminary report that pointed the Commission to some of the anomalies that require cleanup before the general election. Audit firm KPMG told the Commission of more than 246,000 records of voters who have since died, of 481,000 duplicate records, meaning of voters that may have been registered more than once, while another 226,000 are persons who registered with identification documents that do not belong to them. A further 164,000 persons registered with invalid documents. The call on IEBC being to determine the fate of those records, especially persons whose records are multiple. IEBC is yet to communicate on the fate of such duplicate records, with the options of deactivating all of them or retaining just one record per voter. KPMG's head of advisory, Gerald Kasimu, told of system loopholes found in the voter registration process that need to be resolved.
We've also noted a few other control gaps from the review of the voter registration processes, the underlying systems on which the register of voters is hosted, which will require some rectification as well in readiness for the election.
Of immediate attention, though, is the cleanup of the voters' register, compounded by suspect voter transfers that had been effected between May 2018 and May 2022. An exercise to verify the more than 1 million transfers has since been concluded at the Bomas of Kenya. IEBC is expected to report back on its findings at a time suspicion has been rife that voters may have been moved from their polling stations without their consent.
We have discussed with the Commission the number of records that need to be reviewed for purposes of rectifying any anomalies.
IEBC is expected to report to the stakeholders of their findings and explain who was behind the transfers and what action will be taken should it be found that staff of the Commission were involved. By procedure, it is the responsibility of constituency election coordinators, also known as the returning officers, to manage the voters' register at the constituency level. They are the only mandated persons to authorize a transfer.
Each and every returning officer has got their own username and also their access right. So can be able to link it to any returning officer. Administrative action will be taken against them, and the harshest punishment is going to be dismissal, of course.
KPMG is expected to inspect changes effected by IEBC in the voters' register before releasing the final audit report, which KPMG says will be ready before the end of the week. IEBC is then expected to publish the register of voters, an exercise that should have been done by the 9th of June, being 60 days to the election.
However, due to the implementation of these preliminary audit findings on the register, the Commission has decided to address the findings prior to certifying the register for publication on or before the 20th of June this year.
The law requires the Commission to open the register to the public for biometric verification, with voters allowed to report to their registration centres to confirm that their fingerprints can be detected on the KIMS kits. IEBC plans to only have the electronic voters register on the election day without a printed version, saying the move is intended to avoid abuse of manual registers as witnessed previously. Sam Gituko, Citizen TV, Nairobi.